Welcome everyone to the edx-enterprise talk. We are going to be talking about the enterprise initiative that edX has been developing for the past 7 months. I'm going to ask for you to hold your questions till the end. My name is Brittney Exline, and I'm a senior software engineer at edX.
I'm Jesse Shapiro. I'm a senior open source developer with OpenCraft.
And I'm Eugeny Kolpakov, and I'm also a senior software developer at OpenCraft.
And Eugeny's going to start us off.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing introduction. So imagine that you are, how do I handle that altogether? So imagine you are a chief learning officer at a big company like IBM or Microsoft. Your job is to ensure that your workforce is skilled enough and advanced enough for your company to be successful. In order to do that, your goal is to manage learning resources and assign your workforce to those resources in efficient, scalable, and most flexible way. But how do you go about that in a world that's constantly changing at rapid pace and in a predictable manner? How would you handle that, knowing that it is predicted to have more about 50% of current jobs removed or significantly transformed by year 2030? And so, not that slide yet. So how do you, this is the challenge that corporate learning is constantly facing. And this is an industry of about 70 billion US dollars annually, which contain, and with average spending about of 10% or 7 billions annually on e-learning content. And companies are investing in e-learning because they want to keep their employees engaged and reduce employee retention. They want to keep their workforce at the bleeding edge in order to stay competitive and successful. And they want to do it in scalable and flexible way. So EDX can meet those needs by providing relevant content for a broad range of professional skills, by partnering with leading top-tier institutions across the world to provide the unprecedented range and quality of learning content, and as the only non-profit MOOC, EDX MOOC provider is dedicated to putting learner experience first and providing attainable high-quality education. And lastly, EDX platform allows to deliver this experience to many learners in a scalable and cost-efficient way. Now I'm handling the reign of this presentation to Brittney, right?
Yes.
And
a clicker.
Oh, thank you very much. So we started this about 7 months ago, which is when I joined the edX team. And we've been doing a lot of research asking companies, both small and large, who've approached us, what do we need to have your learners, your employees come over to our platform and take advantage of our content? So I'm going to talk you through the 3 main things that we've discovered to focus on at first to deliver on this. So the 3 things that we found were that, first, there has to be a way for enterprises to discover the course content that is relevant to them. They need a way to curate courses with our help or without our help, and they need a way for us to deliver this programmatically to their platforms or systems. The second thing is that they need a smooth onboarding for their employees to become learners to our platform, to give them a white glove experience. And finally, they need feedback on how their employees were doing in the courses that they enrolled in. Did they pass? Did they fail? So they can better measure their investment. So let's imagine that we have the enterprise customer system. Perhaps they have an LMS like SAP SuccessFactors. Maybe they have their own homegrown system. And we have the edX platform, or any open edX installation. First is course discovery. We'll talk about the details later, but there's 2 mechanisms for this. It can either be push, we can send this data programmatically. We currently have support for that for SAP SuccessFactors LMS systems. Or we can expose our Discovery API, which allows them to view the catalog of courses that were curated for them and all of the metadata associated with those courses, so they can display it in whatever manner they choose to their employees. Next, the employees have to come over to our system. The dominant way that they come over is single sign-on. Not all enterprise customers need single sign-on, but a lot of the bigger customers do. When the learners come over, we have an obligation to make sure that the learners understand that we are going to be sharing their data back. So we have a data sharing consent experience that they go through to ensure they understand that them coming over from their employee could require them to have their data sent back to the customer. Enterprise customers are also interested in providing discounts or completely paying for verified certificates on the platform. So they might be having a coupon or benefit redeemed at that point when they come over for the first time into edX. And finally, they get enrolled in the course, just like any other learner. And the last stage is the data passback. So right now, this is quite basic. We provide data about what course the employee enrolled in and whether or not they passed or failed and when they completed the course. This can be done through a push to the enterprise customer system, or perhaps in the future we're working on developing an API that the enterprise customer can hit themselves to learn about what their employees have done in their courses. And this is where we've started with our feature set, which we think can apply to a broad range of customers. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jesse to go through some of the more technical details of what we've implemented. And next, we're going to see it in action after Jesse goes through those details.
Thanks, Brittney. Like Brittney said, right now we've got a core experience that we need to provide to our enterprise customers and their learners. Essentially, we send information about courses, we get learners back, and we send back information about how those learners did. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the specific features from a technical level that we implemented and how each of those goes into forming the greater enterprise customer experience. So like Brittney said, we have an SSO process. We have an ability to customize the learning experience for enterprise learners. We have the ability to provide discounts for those learners, and we have the ability to share data back when consent has been provided. Starting with SSO, we got a number of different options. We begin with a simple SSO process using industry standard OAuth 2 or SAML authentication. This will get the learner into the OpenEdX experience very quickly without needing to create a new account or a new password that they can forget as soon as they leave. We also provide direct integrations. We have an API that enterprise customers can hit and retrieve course information. They can build their own sort of course discovery process, and in conjunction with SSO, learners will be able to click on courses within their own employer system and get directly into the OpenEdX LMS. Finally, like Brittney said, we have a channel integration process. Right now, we support SAP SuccessFactors to integrate the OpenEdX courseware directly into the SAP LMS. Learners can browse the existing LMS that they're already familiar with, and they can pick the courses they want to see, and they can open them seamlessly without even maybe realizing that they're necessarily leaving SAP SuccessFactors in the first place. So when a user lands in OpenEdX or at edx.org, what's the first thing they see? We've created a custom landing page that'll show the enterprise customers logo alongside the platform logo to create sort of a trust anchor is what we're calling it, to tie those two together and just make sure that the user feels reassured that the enterprise customer, in partnership with edX, is invested in their education. You can also show a custom message that's maybe specific to that enterprise customer, again, reaffirming the investment of the enterprise customer in the learner's experience. We're also working on a feature that will allow learners from any particular company to take courses together, to interact with each other in the discussion forums, and really build a learning community inside their company. We think it's important that learners have that ability to interact with their peers and the people they might already see on a day-to-day basis. The big feature from the perspective of a learner is a discount provided by the enterprise customer. This is essentially the investment that enterprise customer is making in each individual learner, whether they're an employee or a student. They can be either a full or partial discount on any given course, or in fact on a broad range of courses, either specified by a course catalog or some other means. And they can be redeemed in a number of different ways. It goes from the simple coupon code style, where an enterprise customer might distribute those codes via email marketing, a handout card, or some other means, maybe even a billboard in the city. Or, depending on the relationship that the enterprise customer has with the learners that they're targeting, it might be as simple as the user browsing that XLMS, clicking on a course and seeing your employer has provided a discount for this course. It'll be applied automatically. This really leads us into the concept of data sharing and consent. Data sharing is currently executed via channel integration, like Brittney said, with SAP SuccessFactors. We're currently passing back basic information. We're hoping to expand that as we work with our partners to realize what their specific needs are from the edx-enterprise experience, depending on, do you want enrollment data? Do you want course completion data? Do you want even more specific data, like how did they do on a particular problem? We're working on figuring out exactly what scopes of data are really needed. But of course, like Eugeny said, our first priority is to our learners. We're a nonprofit, and we think that education is important. Well, edX is a nonprofit, but we all think education is important. That's why we do this. So we want to make sure that it's always clear and unambiguous to our learners the trade-offs they're making. They might be able to get a discount on a particular course from their employer, but we want to make sure that they know that they can always choose to decline that discount if they want to take that course on their own and not share details about it. It should always be a choice, and it should never be unclear about what that choice is. So we've talked a little bit about what the use case is for edx.org. So what's the benefit for you as an open edX provider? We think that each of you has a unique set of courses, whether it's an industry-specific set of courses, whether it's compliance training, whether it's something else. Each of you brings something to the table. And maybe right now you're going after individual learners as your potential customers. And that's great. Education is important for individuals, for groups. We think that edx-enterprise will enable you to pursue larger clients, to talk to large corporations, say, we can provide this learning experience for your employees, and we think that's going to be useful for you. And allows you to do it with a minimum of effort because we've already written the code for it. You just have to plug in the configuration. We're going to take a very brief break, and we're not going to take a break, so stay where you are. We're just going to do a quick demo of the process of going through the SAP SuccessFactors flow and see how that gets you into a course right away, very easily, without any disruption. Yep.
So what we're going to show you is what we implemented with SAP SuccessFactors. Of course, some of our partners are choosing to create their own landing page experience on their side before they come over to our platform. But this is a course that we pushed to our test success factors instance, and the learner who's logged in is ready to start the course.
Can you increase the size on that a bit, please? Thank you.
So this is taking us over to the edX platform. And this is the landing page experience. What you didn't see in the background, because this user is already registered on the system, is that it automatically logged them in as their user identity on edX's platform. Here we have the Pied Piper logo that is our test enterprise customer. And you can see here that we have an option for taking the audit track or the professional education track, which might have a benefit that could be applied for the learner if they choose that option. We're going to go ahead and choose the audit option here. And this takes us to the data sharing consent page. We've tried to keep the design simple and clear. If the learner wants to read more about the data sharing policy, it is available in a convenient expansion on the page, so they are not taken away from the experience. Of course, they can decline, and this will, I think, redirect them. It will ask them if they're sure they want to decline, and if so, it'll redirect them back to edx.org. But we're going to go ahead and agree and continue on, and this lands them straight into the course experience. Now, this learner has already started the course, so it took them back to where they had left off in the demo course. If we click around more and enter the process again, it will take them directly through instead of having them enroll again. So, at this point, the enterprise learner experience is the same as the edx.org learner experience. They will take the same courses and have the same course content available to them, but we've really focused on streamlining the experience of them coming through from their company's systems over to ours, and we're going to continue to build a relationship with our enterprise customers and find out their needs in the courseware and in other areas. And that is all for our demo. So we will move on to questions. Yes?
My first question is, is your plan to redirect the user to the edX course on the general platform, or is your plan to more direct the course to a dedicated instance of OpenEDX for enterprise learning? So
for edX's needs, we're going to be redirecting them to edx.org, but the features are available for any OpenEDX installation. So if some operator has an arrangement with a specific customer, they would be sending them to their instance of OpenEDX.
Can I provide individual dashboards from edX Insights to the companies?
That is a great question. Along with our research into the kind of data that enterprise customers are interested in, we have been considering creating such a dashboard, maybe as part of Insights, maybe as its own separate service. We're not sure yet what shape that will take, but that is something that is in our horizon.
Thanks.
And so I think one of the important requirements for enterprise is that one enterprise has a course put on edX, right? So they don't want any other enterprise to see it, right? They also only want the employee of his company to take the course. And can you handle that kind of data security and also the segregation of a different enterprise?
So that's definitely possible. For this specific processes that we're looking at right now, we're not necessarily talking about courses that are specific to one enterprise customer. We're talking about courses that might have a broad range of application in helping individual learners develop their career, and that their employers might have an interest in them taking. So, well, it's certainly possible that in the future we might look at having an enterprise-specific course, and the frameworks are there to keep it hidden and private only to users of that enterprise. It's not something that we're really looking at as the primary goal right now.
A couple of questions, I guess. Is this part of the FICUS release, or when are you planning to?
So this is already in edX platform. As I think it is in there as of.
Part of the features might be in FICUS. I can't say which ones for sure. The features that we're developing now, we're planning on launching for edX in June. So I think they'll end up being in the next release.
In Ginkgo, yeah.
Yeah. And then the second question I had was, you showed integration with success factors. Would it be easier to link an open edX instance to edx.org using some of these APIs? Because for us, we host our own open edX instance, but it would be great if we can plug edx.org to that open edX instance to allow people to take courses on edx.org as part of our instance.
So I can tell you that you're not the only one who's thought of that use case. We developed for SAP SuccessFactors specifically because when we talked to the edX Corporate Advisory Board, we found that there were a lot of cases where companies already had an existing LMS like SAP SuccessFactors, and they'd be a lot more open to beginning a relationship with edx.org or other open edX instances if the capability to integrate with that existing LMS was already there.
But we did develop this integration with others in mind, so it can take advantage of the existing architecture if we want to develop such an integration with another open edX instance as the LMS or any other LMS that might exist out there. They can be built as plugins into the architecture we have.
Cool, thanks.
Can you talk a bit about the microsites and doing custom course catalogs for these enterprises you're working with?
So that feature was, I think, on one of the initial plans, but then it was dropped for sure. So we haven't looked into it yet. So this might be a very valid use case, so please bring it up on mailing lists or EDX stakeholders.
I know as far as the customized landing page goes, it's quite light customization. It's meant for one course enrollment that the user is interested in. I know one of the features we have down the road involves having the catalog of courses for that enterprise discoverable. Like, let's say they chose all the data science courses that we have available. The user would be able to browse on that page, and it would be sort of a custom landing page experience, but I don't think it will involve microsites, to my knowledge at this point.
We do already have the capability so that we can create what are called entitlements that are linked to a particular enterprise. And so if a user an enterprise can select any number of courses that they're interested in providing a discount for, and a user can browse and select a particular course and see on that page that they have a discount available.
Oh. Yeah, I think he had a question in the front.
So is Enterprise meant to be a series of features, or it'll be a spin-off of edX sometime in the future?
I think it will be features on top of the existing edX platform infrastructure. I guess to get into technical details, we have an edx-enterprise package that we're pulling into the main edX platform repo. So it's just a Django app that's installed and available. We might split that out into its own service as a more robust standalone service, but it's not going to be a spin-off. It's still going to be part of our infrastructure.
Thank you.
Where we will see the documentation? Where we will see the documentation we are really interested and excited about your work, but you know, we have to open.
That's a great
so
question.
you mentioned a package, maybe a GitHub package, edx-enterprise, where we'll see the document. Is it the place where you will put all the documentation and we will install and make tests and understand in the detail what you have done?
Yes, we actually do have documentation for that package itself. I don't really think we've done a good job of integrating it with the wider documentation. We've been focusing on more customer-facing documentation, but that's definitely an area we want to make sure the community can take advantage of. So we'll probably be focusing on that after our launch of this initial feature set.
Yeah, so one thing I would like to add is that we're maintaining the changelog on the repository, so that might be the first step for you to look at the features and understand what's there and how's the development structure, so you can get an idea of what can it do, how to install it, and so on.
So it's in GitHub?
Yes.
edx-enterprise or something?
Yes,
yes.
edx-enterprise.
Okay, that's easy.
Okay, I believe that we are out of...
No, we have 10 minutes. We
I
finished
misread.
early, so we have a lot of questions.
Hey, a quick question on one use case that I thought about. I don't know if you covered it before, but suppose I'm working at SpaceX. Dream to work at SpaceX someday, but and I sign the SSO and take a Python course, and then I got fired and I had to join McDonald's. And McDonald's also asked me to take the same Python course. If I log in, do you sort of track my account and courses that I've taken, even if I move from company to company, or?
That is a great question. So I think we've thought about this a lot, and it is quite confusing.
Yeah, currently we only support linking a given account to one enterprise customer. In the future, we're looking at having the ability to link an account to more than one, and to have the ability to unlink that account once it's linked.
But the account exists separate from the link to the enterprise. So what would likely happen is we would get instructions to unlink certain learners because they are no longer with the company. And then when you're linked again to a new enterprise, you should still be enrolled in that course. But
your course progress is your course progress.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The course progress shouldn't be linked to the enterprise.
Yeah, basically one of the foundations of this project was that EDX considers learners' experience at EDX as a property of a learner, not the corporation he is linked to. So when you're moving from company to company, it's problem of the companies to solve that with EDX or something. All the data will be still yours. Well, as soon as, if I'm understanding EDX position right, all the data will be yours. And when you transition to your new job and start the same course, you'll start from the same point when you left. That's my understanding. Please confirm it.
That's also my understanding.
So do you have a separate homepage for each enterprise, or everybody still say the same landing page of edx.org?
So the landing page is a feature that we offer, but I don't believe all of our enterprise customers are taking advantage of that. If the learner comes in, they just come in initially through the landing page experience. After that, they might just go straight to edx.org and log in with their credentials. They're not necessarily always coming through the portal, except for their first time entering.
So for the enterprise employee, so he will not be able to see a separate page for the eligible courses that employee need to take, right? So
we don't have that at present, but it is something that's coming in the future.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
And of course, like I said during my part of the talk, we are working on a feature to allow enterprises to build their own landing pages and show the specific courses that they might like their employees to take in their own style.
Okay, so then all the cohorts, it should also work, right? So after you segregate into different enterprise, because I want to build different groups in the one enterprise, right? So that should also work.
Yes, we haven't explored that fully yet, but it should be very easy to differentiate which enterprise learners are associated with which enterprise.
I see.
Yes.
I just had some questions. Can you talk a little bit about how grading works? Like, what does the enterprise, this is a great workflow from the learner standpoint, but do the enterprise customers, do they just see like course completion? Do they see grades? Do they, like, at what level of visibility does the enterprise customer see the progress?
That is a great question. With success factors, they only required a very basic set of information, which was the learner, the course, when they completed the course, whether they passed or failed. And that's it. We could provide more granular grade information. We're using certificates as a proxy for when they completed the course. And that's kind of the extent of the data that we're offering at this point through any automated fashion with success factors.
Thank you.
I am a large company.
Yes.
And I can create my content and I can use technology to do what you do. What's the benefit of partnering with you?
So if you're talking about creating your own courseware, why would you partner with edX rather than simply hosting it yourself?
Yeah, because I can create that content based on my values, on my culture. Mm-hmm. What's the value of partnering with you?
So we believe that each edx.org, as well as each individual OpenEdX platform, has a unique value proposition. edx.org partners with prestigious institutions like MIT and Harvard, and can provide content that, it's possible that you might have the resources to match that, but the content already exists. So it might be much more economical for you as a large company to partner with edX to provide that existing high-quality content to your students. Other OpenEdX platforms might have content that has a very specific required knowledge base. For example, compliance training. There are companies that specialize specifically in compliance training because even large companies don't have the capability to produce legally compliant documentation.
So one of the things that this particular edx-enterprise project is aimed to provide is an option for large institutions to kind of consume high-quality resources available on edx.org as opposed for them to spend time and effort to create them in-house. So, yeah, this is just to support the previous...
Yeah.
It's not going to be just for my company, it's going to be for any company.
Right. So I would add that some of the members of our corporate advisory board do run their own OpenEdX installations for internal sorts of course content that they want to have their employees take, but we are adding these features as an avenue to edx.org's content, which is a different set of training that a company might want.
I'm sorry, I think I may have misunderstood the question. Are you saying that you would like to provide your content to other companies as well?
No, what I'm saying is that if the content you are providing is the same for every company, that will make not a difference to my company, because it's not going to be inspired by my culture or my values or anything like that. I'm saying you can provide generic content. If I can build that myself, if I am a large company and I can build that myself, what's
in that case?
Of partnering with you?
Yeah, in that case, this project is definitely not a solution for your company. If you want to create your courses tailored to your workforce and host them, then we have OpenCraft and Raccoon Extension Engine and everyone else, a lot of providers that can help you with doing that. This particular edx-enterprise project is for companies to leverage existing courses, generic ones that are applicable to everyone. But if you want to create your own courses and don't share it with the world, there is totally an opportunity to do that.
I've also heard the use case from our product manager that some companies did want the course content that we had, but they wanted to supplement it with their own, culture and values and maybe specific content to them. We haven't really explored ways to implement that, but we have heard that as a desire from some companies.
One more question?
Yeah, probably one last question because we have 1 minute.
So you can now actually send information back to SAP, something. How you consider an OpenEDX installation also the receiver of that information?
Yes.
So as a company, I could have that?
So that would fit into the plugin architecture for integrating with another LMS. It would support us sending data about course metadata to you in a way that you want, and also sending the learner completion data. We program both ends of the question. We could, yes.
I can answer more specifically. edx-enterprise repository integrated channels package. This is just for you. And one last question. If you manage to
So how Microsoft feel about this? Yeah.
We hope they love it.
They're a member of our corporate advisory board. They're a member of our corporate advisory board, so I know they've given feedback to our product manager. I don't know specifically what that all is, but we have been in communication with them. So.
Okay, I think we're being signaled that our time is over.
Thank you all for coming out.
We'd love to answer more questions if you want to come up to us. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.